Most people think attraction is about looks, clothes, or how loud you can be in a crowd. But the truth is, the strongest attraction does not come from noise. It comes from silence. I have seen men who talk endlessly, chasing attention, and yet they are quickly forgotten. And I have seen men who walk into a room, say nothing, and yet all eyes turn to them. Why? Because attraction is not in the mouth. It is in the presence. It is in the discipline that shows through your body, the calmness that radiates from your eyes, and the silence that makes your words thunder when you finally speak. You want to know how to become that kind of person. The one people respect without you begging for respect. The one people notice without you asking to be noticed. I will show you the habits that make you silently attractive, drawn from the way I lived, fought, and disciplined myself. If you truly master them, you will never need to chase approval again because people will feel your presence before you even open your mouth. 1. Master the power of silence. Silence is one of the most powerful weapons you can ever carry in life, yet it is underestimated by most people because they believe power comes from how much noise they make, how much attention they grab, or how fast they can respond. But the truth is the opposite. Silence is not emptiness. It is strength, awareness, and discipline. When you know how to remain calm and silent, you instantly separate yourself from the crowd because the majority of people cannot sit in silence without feeling uncomfortable. They rush to fill every space with words, they force themselves into every conversation, and they try to win attention by speaking more, not realizing that the more they talk, the more they weaken the value of their words. A person who does not rush to speak shows that he is not controlled by his impulses. He is not desperate to be noticed, nor is he afraid of pauses. When you remain quiet, you learn to listen more carefully, to observe the small details others miss, and to understand the hidden meanings behind people's words and actions. This makes you wiser, sharper, and more aware of your surroundings. People begin to sense that you carry a certain depth because you are not reacting to everything around you. Instead, you are processing, you are watching, and you are in command of yourself. And when you finally choose to speak, your words carry more weight because they are not wasted. They are deliberate, thoughtful, and filled with intent. Think about the difference between someone who talks endlessly about everything and someone who speaks only when it truly matters. Who do people pay attention to? Who do they respect more? Always the one who uses silence as discipline and words as precision. Too many people talk just to be liked, to be accepted, or to avoid discomfort. But in doing so, they give away their power. They show their nerves, they reveal their insecurities, and they waste their energy. The strong man knows that silence is not weakness, it is the highest form of control. It shows that you can master your emotions, resist the urge to prove yourself, and hold your ground without needing to fill the air. When you walk into a room and choose silence, you create mystery. People begin to wonder what you are thinking, what you are capable of, and what you might say if you decide to speak. This curiosity itself makes you attractive because mystery is far more powerful than constant exposure. Silence makes others lean closer, wanting to understand you more, while endless talking only pushes them away. By mastering silence, you are not just controlling sound, you are mastering yourself. You are telling the world that you are not moved by pressure, that you are not desperate for attention, and that you do not need to prove your worth through words. You carry yourself with calm strength, and this alone is enough to command respect. That is why silence, when practiced with discipline, makes you far more attractive than noise ever can. 2. Control your movements. Control your energy. Your body is a reflection of your mind, and the way you move tells the world more about you than your words ever will. If your movements are restless, shaky, or uncontrolled, people instantly sense nervousness and lack of discipline. A man who cannot control his body usually cannot control his thoughts either. But when you master your movements, when every gesture is calm and deliberate, you show the world that you are in control of yourself. That kind of discipline is rare, and it makes you silently attractive without you needing to try. In martial arts, I learned that the smallest movements reveal the deepest truths. The way you stand, the way you breathe, the way you step forward or pause, all of it carries energy. When I entered a training hall, I didn't need to speak to establish presence. My stillness, my balance, and my controlled movements spoke louder than words. The man who walks with stability, who does not waste energy on unnecessary gestures, creates an aura of strength that others feel even before he opens his mouth. Most people reveal their inner chaos through constant fidgeting, tapping, rushing, or reacting without thought. They leak energy in every direction, and this makes them appear weak, distracted, and uncentered. But the person who controls his body radiates focus. He knows when to move and when to stay still. He does not rush because he understands that power is not in speed alone, it is in precision. People naturally respect this because calm control signals self-mastery, and self-mastery is what everyone secretly desires. Think of how attractive it is when someone enters a room without noise, without rushing, but with a calm step, a straight posture, and a controlled presence. Everyone notices them even if they say nothing. Their energy speaks. Their movements declare discipline. And that discipline makes people curious, makes them respect you, makes them drawn to you without you needing to demand their attention. Controlling your movements is more than just physical. It is about mastering your energy. When you slow down and move with purpose, you show that you are not a slave to impulses. You show that you value your energy enough to use it wisely. This is the same in a fight, in a conversation, or in daily life. Control yourself, and you will control how others see you. Lose control, and you lose respect before you even speak. If you want to be silently attractive, do not just train your words, train your body, train your movements, and train your energy. Let every action, no matter how small, reflect calm strength. People will notice it, they will feel it, and they will respect you more deeply than they ever would for empty noise. 3. Show respect without seeking approval. Respect is one of the most powerful forms of silent strength, but most people misunderstand it. They confuse respect with pleasing others, bending to their opinions, or begging for approval. That is not respect. That is insecurity. True respect comes from strength, not from weakness. It comes from recognizing the value of others without lowering yourself, from being kind without being needy, and from treating people with dignity without expecting anything in return. When you learn this balance, you become quietly attractive because people sense that your respect is real and your presence does not carry the stench of desperation. In my life, I respected every man, even those who challenged me. Respecting someone did not mean that I feared them or that I sought their acceptance. It meant that I honored their humanity while standing firm in my own. This balance is magnetic because people rarely experience it. Too often they meet people who only respect with conditions. If they are liked back, if they are praised, if they are recognized. But when you respect without needing anything, you show that your respect is not a tool, it is a reflection of your strength. People can feel when you are genuine. They can sense when you are giving kindness freely versus when you are secretly fishing for validation. And nothing is more silently attractive than a person who respects others but clearly does not depend on their approval. This creates a paradox that draws people in. They feel valued by you, yet they know you would still remain strong without them. That mix of warmth and independence is powerful because it gives respect without weakness. Think of how many people destroy their presence by constantly chasing validation. They compliment only to receive compliments back. They respect only those who can benefit them, and they bend their values just to fit in. These habits make them invisible because they become copies of what others want them to be. But the man who can look someone in the eye, offer them respect, and yet remain completely detached from their opinion, he is noticed, he is remembered, and he is admired. This lesson goes deeper than social behavior. It is about self-respect. When you respect yourself, you naturally respect others without fear. When you know your worth, you do not need to prove it by putting others down or by begging them to lift you up. Your respect flows from your inner security, and people feel safer, calmer, and more drawn to you because of it. To be silently attractive, cultivate this habit, honor others without needing them, show kindness without weakness, and give respect without losing your independence. That is when people will look at you not only with admiration, but with genuine respect in return. And you will notice that the more you respect others without attachment, the more your own dignity grows in their eyes. 4. Speak with calm confidence. The way you speak is one of the clearest mirrors of your inner state. When your voice trembles, when your words are rushed, when you fill silence with endless chatter, you reveal nervousness and lack of control. But when you speak slowly, calmly, and with certainty, people feel the strength behind your words. True confidence does not shout, it does not boast, and it does not compete for attention. True confidence speaks in a tone that is steady, measured, and free of desperation. When I taught my students, I always reminded them that the way they speak should be like the way they fight, precise, deliberate, and controlled. Just as a fighter does not throw punches wildly, a man of presence does not waste words carelessly. He chooses his words the way he chooses his strikes, with clarity and purpose. Most people weaken their presence because they talk without thinking, and in doing so, they give away their power. But when you pause, when you measure your speech, when you allow your words to flow with intention, people cannot help but listen. Confidence in speech is not about volume, it is about weight. Many think that speaking loudly proves dominance, but loudness without substance only creates noise. A calm voice, steady and unshaken, can silence a room more effectively than the loudest shout. Why? Because calmness signals control, and control is magnetic. People sense that you are not only in charge of what you say, but also in charge of yourself. Another aspect of speaking with calm confidence is learning to embrace pauses. Most people fear silence in conversation, so they rush to fill every gap. But when you are confident, you are not afraid of silence. You let your words breathe and you let others absorb them. This creates impact because your audience is forced to reflect on what you just said instead of letting it pass by unnoticed. Every pause becomes part of your presence, and every word becomes a point of gravity. Remember, calm confidence also means you do not argue to prove yourself. When you know your truth, you do not waste energy fighting every opinion. You do not need to force people to agree with you because your calm conviction speaks louder than debate. This is why people are drawn to those who speak less but speak with strength. Their words are like arrows, direct and unforgettable. Think of the contrast. One man talks endlessly, explaining himself, seeking agreement, trying to impress. The other man speaks briefly, calmly, and leaves his words hanging in the air like an echo. Which one do people remember? Always the second, because people do not remember noise, they remember presence. To be silently attractive, train your voice the way you train your body. Slow it down, remove the desperation, remove the nervous filler, and let each word carry the energy of certainty. When you speak, speak as if your words are commands, not requests. Speak with calmness that tells people you are unshaken and with conviction that tells them you are certain of your path. You will notice that people will lean in to listen because they will feel the force of your presence in every word, even when you speak softly. 5. Live with discipline others can see. Discipline is not something you announce to the world. Discipline is not in the words you say, but in the life you live. A man who truly has discipline does not need to tell anyone about it, because people can see it in the way he carries himself, in the way he trains, in the way he shows up every day with consistency. The world is filled with people who talk about their goals, their dreams, and their plans. But when you watch their actions, you see laziness, inconsistency, and excuses. Words mean nothing if they are not backed by discipline. But when a man lives with discipline, he becomes a silent example. People notice, even if he never speaks about it, because his very presence radiates commitment. When I trained in martial arts, I lived by discipline. I woke up when others slept, I practiced when others wasted time, and I pushed myself beyond limits when others quit. I did not need to tell anyone how hard I worked. My skill, my body, my results spoke for me. That is the essence of silent attraction. People are drawn to those who show consistency, who stay on their path without distraction, who demonstrate strength not through words, but through habits. This creates an aura of respect that no empty bragging can buy. Discipline is visible in small things too. It is in the way you maintain your body, in the way you keep your surroundings, in the way you treat your commitments. If you say you will do something and you do it every time, people begin to trust you. If you show up sharp, focused, and prepared, people see that you respect yourself and your time. If you maintain your body with fitness, they see that you have control over your appetites. All these small signals create silent attraction because most people struggle with discipline and admire those who have mastered it. Think of the difference between someone who is constantly distracted, jumping from one thing to another, and someone who is consistent, steady, and unwavering. The first one creates no respect, no presence, because their life has no order. The second commands respect without asking, because discipline itself is magnetic. People know they can rely on you. They know you will not collapse under pressure. They know you are built on routine and not on impulse. Living with discipline also teaches you self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, you build inner strength. You no longer need outside validation because you already know you are capable. That self-respect shines through in your posture, your eyes, your calmness. People sense it even if they cannot describe it. They are drawn to you because discipline creates stability, and stability is attractive in a world filled with chaos. Remember this: attraction is not about the attention you demand. It is about the life you live. If your habits show discipline, people will respect you. If your actions show consistency, people will admire you. And if your presence shows that you are a man of order, strength, and focus, people will be drawn to you without you needing to chase them. Live with discipline others can see, and you will become magnetic without even trying. 6. Carry yourself with simplicity. Simplicity is not weakness, and it is not emptiness. Simplicity is clarity. It is the ability to remove the unnecessary and keep only what is essential. Most people spend their lives trying to impress others by adding more. More decoration, more words, more noise, more drama. They believe attraction comes from exaggeration. But in truth, the more you add, the less people respect you. Because all that excess becomes a mask hiding your true self. The man who lives with simplicity has nothing to hide, and that honesty makes him silently powerful. When I lived, I wore simple clothes, ate simple meals, and trained with simple principles. It was never about impressing others. It was about efficiency, about cutting away what was not useful. I often said, absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. This is the essence of simplicity. When you live simply, people can see you for who you truly are, without layers of pretense. And that directness is attractive because authenticity is rare. Look around you. Many people drown themselves in trends, luxury, or false displays of confidence. They use loudness, fashion, or drama as crutches because they fear that without these things, they will not be noticed. But these habits create only shallow attraction that fades as quickly as it comes. True magnetism does not come from what you wear or what you own or how loudly you demand attention. True magnetism comes from your essence, and simplicity allows that essence to shine. A simple man is not boring. He is clear, he is focused, he knows what matters, and he removes everything else. People respect this because it shows strength. It shows that you are not a slave to trends, not desperate to impress, and not insecure about who you are. You do not need to hide behind clutter because you yourself are enough. And when you live this way, people feel calm around you. They feel they can trust you. They feel drawn to you because your presence is solid and uncluttered, like clean water or clear air. Simplicity also sharpens your power. The less noise you carry, the stronger your presence becomes. A man of simplicity is remembered not for what he wears or how he shows off, but for how he makes people feel, stable, focused, and respected. When others try to be everything at once, he is secure in being himself. This is why simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. The more you simplify your life, your words, and your actions, the more magnetic you become. To live simply means to let go of what is not essential. Speak only when necessary. Dress in a way that reflects calm confidence instead of desperation. And choose actions that align with your values instead of trying to impress others. When you do this, you carry yourself in a way that naturally draws respect. You no longer have to chase attraction because your simplicity speaks for you. People look at you and sense discipline, calmness, and authenticity, and those three qualities are irresistible. Remember this: attraction is not about decoration, it is about presence. Strip away what is not needed, and you will shine brighter than those who cover themselves in noise. Carry yourself with simplicity, and you will become unforgettable without ever trying to be. 7. Be unshakable under pressure. There is one quality that separates the weak from the strong, the fragile from the unbreakable, the ones who are merely noticed from the ones who are silently admired, and that is the ability to remain calm under pressure. It is easy to appear confident when life is smooth, when the people around you are kind, when situations favor you. But the true test of a man is not how he behaves when everything goes well. It is how he stands when life pushes against him, when others insult him, when the storm of challenges rises to break him. This is where most people lose themselves, and this is where the silently attractive person rises above the rest. In my own life, I was challenged not only in combat, but in philosophy, in relationships, and in the public eye. Many tried to provoke me, to pull me into anger, to test whether my calmness was genuine or just a mask. And I learned a simple truth: the one who cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. When you allow others to dictate your emotions, you give away your power. When someone insults you and you instantly flare up in anger, you have already lost control because they are now pulling your strings like a puppet. But when you remain unshaken, when their words fall on you like stones against a mountain, you show a kind of strength that no noise can equal. Calmness under pressure is not weakness, it is mastery. It shows that you are not ruled by the emotions of the moment, but by a deeper awareness of yourself. People notice this immediately. They see that while others panic, you breathe steadily. While others shout, you remain composed. While others rush to prove themselves, you stay anchored. And that calm presence is magnetic because in a chaotic world, everyone is searching for stability. The man who remains calm becomes like a rock in the river, steady, unshaken, and unmovable no matter how fast the water rushes around him. Many people confuse reaction with strength. They believe that by snapping back quickly, by showing anger, by raising their voice, they prove themselves powerful. But this only shows weakness because it reveals how easily they can be moved. Power is not in reaction, power is in restraint. When you restrain your anger, when you restrain the impulse to prove yourself, when you remain steady in the face of provocation, you show that you are the master, not the slave of your emotions. And this mastery is what makes you silently attractive. People cannot help but respect the one who does not lose himself under fire. This lesson is not only for insults or conflicts, it applies to every area of life. When challenges come, financial struggles, personal losses, unexpected setbacks, most people collapse into fear or despair. But the one who remains calm, who looks at the problem directly, who breathes, thinks, and acts with clarity, becomes the one everyone turns to. Calmness under pressure makes you a natural leader, because while others are drowned in emotion, you are anchored in control. Imagine a man in a crisis. One is shouting, panicking, making the situation worse. The other stands calmly, assessing the situation, speaking few words, moving with clarity. Who do people trust? Who do they respect? Always the second, because calmness is not only attractive, it is deeply reassuring. People are drawn to those who can steady the chaos around them because such people make them feel safe. Safety is one of the most magnetic forces in human interaction. When people feel safe around you, they will naturally admire you, respect you, and seek your presence. Being unshakable also creates an aura of mystery. When people try to provoke you and you do not respond the way they expect, they begin to wonder about you. They ask themselves, why doesn't he react? What does he know? What kind of strength is he holding inside? That mystery draws them in because unpredictability combined with calmness creates intrigue. You do not need to prove yourself because your restraint itself becomes proof of your power. This does not mean that you suppress your emotions or pretend to be calm while boiling inside. Real calmness is not pretending, it is training. Just as you train your body to respond with precision in martial arts, you must train your mind to respond with clarity in life. This means practicing awareness, learning to pause before reacting, and building a mindset that sees challenges not as threats, but as opportunities to show strength. When you reach this level, calmness is no longer something you force. It becomes who you are. To be unshakable under pressure, you must first build inner security. You must know who you are, what you value, and where you stand. When you are secure in yourself, insults cannot pierce you because they do not touch your truth. When you are secure in your vision, setbacks cannot break you because you know the path is bigger than a single obstacle. When you are secure in your discipline, challenges cannot weaken you because you have already trained yourself to endure. This inner security is what allows calmness to shine naturally without effort. Think also of the attraction this creates. Most people today are restless, quick to anger, quick to anxiety, quick to lose themselves in the chaos of life. But when you encounter someone who is calm, steady, and grounded, it feels refreshing, almost rare. You feel that they carry something you wish you had. And this is why silent attraction grows around those who remain unshakable. People will not always understand why they are drawn to you, but they will feel it because calmness is a language that everyone can sense. Another aspect of being unshakable is patience. The ability to wait, to endure without breaking, is one of the strongest signals of inner power. Most people cannot wait. They rush, they panic, they want everything now. But patience shows that you trust yourself and your path. It shows that you are not desperate, that you are not ruled by external pressure. And nothing is more attractive than someone who is free from desperation. Patience combined with calmness creates an aura of inevitability, as if no matter what happens, you will still reach your goal. That quiet certainty is magnetic. Of course, there will be moments when pressure feels overwhelming. You may feel anger rising, fear pulling, or anxiety creeping in. But this is where training matters. You must learn to breathe deeply, to ground yourself in the present, and to remind yourself that every storm eventually passes. The question is not whether the storm will come. The question is whether you will still be standing when it is gone. Train yourself to remain standing, and you will inspire others without saying a word. To be silently attractive, you must embrace this principle fully. Never let the outside world control your inner state. People will test you, life will test you, situations will test you, but your calmness is your armor, your restraint is your weapon, and your stability is your magnet. Be the man who cannot be provoked, who cannot be shaken, who cannot be broken by noise. Be the mountain in the storm, the calm in the chaos, the fire that burns steady, no matter how strong the wind blows. When you live this way, you will not need to chase attention, because people will naturally be drawn to you. They will admire you not for what you say, but for what you embody. And that is the highest form of silent attraction. 8. Develop inner strength that does not depend on the world. If you truly want to be silently attractive, you must understand one truth. The strength that people are drawn to is not on the outside, it is on the inside. Muscles, money, clothes, or status can catch attention for a moment, but they do not hold it for long. What holds people, what creates silent attraction that lasts, is an inner strength that does not depend on the world. This kind of strength cannot be bought, cannot be borrowed, and cannot be faked. It is built slowly, through discipline, through struggle, through self-mastery. When you carry this kind of inner strength, people feel it, even if you never speak a word. I have always believed that the strongest man is not the one who can throw the hardest punch, but the one who can endure without breaking, who can remain steady in spirit no matter what life throws at him. The world is full of men who look strong on the surface, but collapse inside at the first sign of failure, rejection, or loss. They build their identity on things they cannot control, on praise from others, on success that can vanish, on material possessions that can be taken away. But when you build your strength inside, when you know your worth without needing the world to remind you, you become unshakable. That is what makes you magnetic. Inner strength begins with knowing yourself. Too many people are strangers to themselves. They live by the opinions of others. They measure their worth by comparison. They follow the crowd because they fear standing alone. But attraction comes from individuality, from authenticity. When you know who you are, when you are clear on your values, when you no longer bend just to fit in, you shine without effort. People are drawn to you because they see something rare, someone who is not afraid to be himself. That kind of self-knowledge is the foundation of inner strength. But knowing yourself is not enough. You must also master yourself. The mind is a wild horse. If you do not train it, it will run in every direction, dragging you with it. Thoughts of fear, insecurity, jealousy, anger, these are the enemies of inner strength. Most people are controlled by them without even realizing it. They live in reaction, always pulled by emotions, always pushed by impulses. But when you train your mind, when you learn to observe your emotions instead of being enslaved by them, you gain freedom. That freedom is powerful. It allows you to choose your response instead of being dragged by instinct. And people feel this freedom in you. They sense your control, your composure, your calmness. That silent composure is attractive because it is so rare. Discipline is another pillar of inner strength. Strength is not in doing something once. It is in doing it consistently, even when you don't feel like it. This is why training is so important, whether it is physical, mental, or spiritual. Every time you push yourself when you want to quit, you carve a new layer of strength inside you. Every time you resist distraction and stay on your path, you build resilience. And every time you keep a promise to yourself, you grow respect for yourself. Over time, this discipline builds a presence that others cannot ignore. You do not need to show off your habits. Your results, your focus, and your consistency will speak for you. Inner strength also means emotional stability. Most people are like leaves in the wind, blown in every direction by their feelings. One insult ruins their day. One failure breaks their spirit. One rejection makes them question their worth. But a person with inner strength is not shaken so easily. He feels emotions, but he does not drown in them. He knows that no moment defines him, no failure ends him, and no opinion controls him. This stability creates an aura of peace. When people are around you, they feel safe, they feel calmer, because your presence itself carries steadiness. And that is one of the most magnetic qualities you can have. Now, understand this clearly. Inner strength is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. In fact, the more you show off, the weaker you appear. Real strength is quiet, like a deep river that flows steadily, not like a shallow stream that makes noise. When you have inner strength, you do not need to prove it, because it is visible in your actions, in your posture, in your energy. People feel it when they talk to you, when they watch you, when they see how you handle life. That unspoken strength is what creates silent attraction. It pulls people toward you without a word. Another part of inner strength is independence. The person who depends on others for happiness, approval, or direction will always be weak, because their life is controlled by forces outside themselves. But when your happiness comes from within, when your approval comes from yourself, when your direction is set by your own values, you cannot be manipulated. You are free. Freedom is attractive because it is rare. Most people are trapped in cages they cannot see, built from fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of failure. But when you move freely, unafraid of these things, people feel it, and they are drawn to you because you embody the courage they wish they had. Let me tell you something important. Life will test you. It will strip things away. It will push you to your limits. It will show you where you are weak. But do not run from these tests. Use them. Every difficulty is a chance to grow stronger inside. Every rejection teaches you that your worth is not in others' hands. Every failure teaches you that you can rise again. Every loss teaches you that nothing outside defines you. If you use life's challenges to build your inner strength, you will become someone who cannot be broken. And people are irresistibly drawn to those who cannot be broken. True inner strength also means humility. Many mistake strength for arrogance, but arrogance is weakness in disguise. The man who truly has inner strength does not need to look down on others, does not need to prove superiority, does not need to dominate. He is secure enough to respect others without losing himself. He can stand tall without pushing others down. This balance of strength and humility is one of the most attractive combinations in the world because it is both powerful and peaceful. People feel safe with you, yet they also feel your strength, and that is a rare balance. Finally, Inner strength creates consistency between who you are and how you live. Most people wear masks, changing themselves depending on who they are with. But this creates confusion and distrust. The man with inner strength is the same everywhere: calm, steady, respectful, disciplined. People know what to expect from him, and that reliability makes them respect him more. Consistency is silently attractive because it shows you are not pretending. You are real, and realness is magnetic in a world full of illusions. If you want to be silently attractive, build this kind of inner strength. Do not chase attention. Do not build your identity on things that can vanish. Instead, build yourself from the inside out. Know yourself, master your mind, live with discipline, develop emotional stability, embrace humility, and remain consistent. This strength will not shout, but it will be felt by everyone around you. They may not always be able to explain why, but they will sense something powerful in your presence, something that sets you apart. That is the power of inner strength, and that is why it is one of the deepest sources of silent attraction. 9. Build an aura of presence wherever you go. Attraction is not only about what you say or what you do, it is about what people feel when you enter a space. Some men walk into a room and no one notices them. Others walk in and without a single word, all eyes shift toward them. That is not magic and it is not luck. It is presence. Presence is the invisible energy you carry that speaks louder than your words. And when you learn to build it, you become silently attractive without even trying. What is presence? It is the combination of your body language, your focus, your calmness, your confidence, and your inner strength radiating outward. People can sense it even before you speak. When you are present, you are fully alive in the moment. You are not lost in your phone, not distracted by noise, not trapped in your head worrying about how others see you. You are simply here, calm, aware, steady. That kind of grounded awareness makes people feel your energy. They cannot always describe it, but they know you are different and they are drawn to it. I learned this truth through martial arts. When two fighters face each other, presence decides half the battle before a strike is thrown. The one who stands with calm confidence, who shows no fear, who radiates focus, creates pressure on the opponent without moving. The opponent begins to feel the weight of that energy, and often he breaks before the fight even starts. This is the same in life. When you build presence, people feel it. They listen more carefully when you speak. They respect you without you asking, and they treat you with caution because they sense that you are not ordinary. Presence begins with posture. The way you stand tells the world how you see yourself. If you slouch, fidget, or look down, you send signals of weakness, insecurity, or distraction. But when you stand upright, shoulders relaxed, head held steady, you project calm strength. You do not need to puff your chest or exaggerate. True presence is not about acting big. It is about being aligned. Posture is silent communication, and people read it instantly. They may not think about it consciously, but they will feel it. And when you carry yourself with balance, you radiate confidence without words. Eye contact is another pillar of presence. Most people avoid holding eye contact because they are afraid of being seen, or they rush to dominate it by staring too aggressively. But real presence is neither avoiding nor forcing. It is holding steady, calm, and respectful eye contact. When you look into someone's eyes with calmness, you signal that you are unafraid, that you have nothing to hide, and that you are fully in the moment. People feel this deeply because it is rare. Most are distracted or insecure, but your steady gaze makes them feel that you are truly there with them. And that silent connection builds attraction without effort.
Breathing also shapes presence. When you are anxious, your breath becomes shallow and fast, and people sense that nervous energy. When you are calm, your breathing is deep and steady, and people feel grounded around you. This is why martial artists, monks, and leaders train their breath. It is not just for the body, it is for the energy you radiate. A steady breath creates a steady aura, and others can feel it even without realizing why.
But presence is not only physical, it is also mental. To have presence, you must focus fully on the moment. When you speak with someone, give them your full attention. Do not split your mind between them and your distractions. Do not think about how you look, how they see you, or what you will say next. Just listen, observe, and respond with calmness. People notice when someone is truly present with them, and they are naturally drawn to it. Why? Because most of the time they feel ignored by others. Your presence makes them feel valued, and that is magnetic. Another key to building presence is slowing down. In a world where everyone rushes, walking fast, talking fast, living fast, the one who moves calmly stands out. Do not confuse this with laziness. Slowness is not weakness, it is control. When you slow down your words, your steps, your gestures, you show that you are not in a hurry to prove yourself, that you are not driven by desperation. You show that you are in charge of your time and your energy. This unhurried calmness creates respect because people sense authority in it. The man who does not rush is the man who cannot be rushed by others. Now understand this. Presence is not about faking confidence. It is not about trying to look powerful or acting mysterious on purpose. That kind of performance is easy to see through, and people eventually lose respect for it. True presence comes from the inside. It comes from knowing yourself, respecting yourself, and being aligned with your actions. When your inner world is calm, your outer presence becomes powerful naturally. You do not need to force it, you only need to let it shine. Presence also means carrying energy that uplifts, not energy that drains. Some people enter a room and spread negativity, complaining, gossiping, or bringing drama. They may get attention, but it is not the kind of attention that creates attraction. True presence is uplifting. It makes others feel more at peace, more inspired, more confident. When your presence leaves people better than before, they will remember you, they will respect you, and they will want to be around you again. That is the kind of silent attraction that lasts. Another element of presence is consistency. If you are calm one day but chaotic the next, people will not trust your energy. To build lasting presence, you must embody it everywhere. When you walk alone, when you speak with strangers, when you face challenges, when you spend time with loved ones. People must see that your presence is real, not an act you switch on and off. This consistency makes them respect you, because they know what to expect from you, and that reliability builds deep, silent admiration. Let me share a simple truth. Presence is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself. When you are fully in charge of your body, your breath, your focus, your words, you radiate stability. And when you radiate stability, others cannot help but respect you. In a world where so many are restless, distracted, and insecure, the one who is fully present becomes magnetic without effort. People will feel it in the way you stand, in the way you move, in the way you look at them, and in the way you make them feel. That is why presence is one of the most powerful forms of silent attraction. To build an aura of presence, start small. Practice standing tall, breathing steadily, moving with calmness. When you speak, slow down and mean what you say. When you listen, give your full attention. When you enter a room, do not rush to prove yourself. Simply be there, grounded and aware. Over time, these habits build into an energy that people cannot ignore. You will not need to demand attention, because your presence will speak louder than words ever could. Remember this, people may forget what you said, they may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Presence is the art of making people feel your strength, your calmness, and your respect without ever needing to explain it. That is silent attraction at its highest level. Build an aura of presence wherever you go, and the world will be drawn to you without you ever chasing it. 10. Practice emotional control. The invisible strength everyone feels. If you truly want to be silently attractive, you must learn to control not just your body, not just your words, but your emotions. This is a deeper level of mastery. Most people are ruled by their emotions without even realizing it. Anger drags them into fights they never needed. Fear stops them from taking the chances that could change their lives. Envy poisons their friendships. Impatience pushes them into mistakes. In the end, they are like puppets being pulled by invisible strings. But the man who learns emotional control, the man who governs his feelings instead of being governed by them, he radiates a strength that cannot be ignored. People feel it in the way he carries himself, and that makes him silently attractive without a single word. In martial arts, I understood early that the most dangerous opponent was not always the one with the sharpest kicks or the fastest punches. It was the one who remained calm under pressure, who never let anger, fear, or panic take control of him. A fighter who loses his temper is easy to defeat because he becomes reckless. A fighter who is afraid already weakens himself before the battle begins. But the one who remains centered no matter what becomes almost impossible to break. This is the same in life. Your true strength is revealed, not when everything goes smoothly, but when life presses hard against you. Do you break or do you bend and remain standing? Emotional control does not mean you do not feel emotions. It does not mean becoming cold or robotic. It means you learn to notice your emotions, accept them, and then choose your response with clarity. Imagine being insulted. The weak man reacts instantly. His face flushes with anger, his voice rises, and he loses control. The strong man feels the sting of the insult, but breathes, pauses, and chooses silence or a measured response. Which one appears more powerful? Which one earns more respect? Always the second, because everyone can see that he cannot be manipulated by words, and that is magnetic. People are deeply attracted to those who can master their emotions because it creates a sense of stability. Imagine being around someone who explodes in anger over small things, who panics at every challenge, who constantly rides the roller coaster of mood swings. Do you feel safe around them? Do you admire them? No, you avoid them. Now think of someone who stays calm when others panic, who listens before reacting, who does not get dragged into drama. That person instantly earns respect, trust, and admiration because their emotional control creates an environment of peace. People are drawn to peace because it is so rare. One of the most important aspects of emotional control is patience. We live in a world that teaches you to want everything now. Quick results, instant success, immediate gratification. But impatience weakens you because it makes you restless and desperate. True strength is shown by the man who can wait, who can endure without breaking, who trusts the process instead of forcing it. Patience shows that you are not desperate and that calm confidence is extremely attractive. People sense that you are moving at your own pace, not pushed around by pressure or fear. Another part of emotional control is learning to detach from the opinions of others. Too many people ride the waves of praise and criticism. When they are praised, they feel invincible. When they are criticized, they collapse. But this dependence makes them fragile. The man with emotional control does not ignore feedback, but he does not let it define him. He listens, he reflects, but he remains centered in his own truth. This independence creates silent attraction because people admire those who cannot be shaken by outside voices. To practice emotional control, you must train just as you would train your body. Start with awareness. Pay attention to how emotions rise within you. Notice when anger comes, when fear appears, when jealousy burns, when impatience stirs. Instead of reacting immediately, pause. Breathe deeply. Create space between the emotion and your response. That pause is where your power lies. The weak man reacts instantly, but the strong man chooses. Over time, this practice becomes natural. You will begin to notice that insults no longer pierce you, setbacks no longer break you, and fears no longer paralyze you. This is mastery, and people will feel it in your presence. Remember, emotional control is not about suppression. If you try to bury your emotions, they will only grow stronger inside you. Control means channeling them. Anger can become discipline. Fear can become caution. Sadness can become compassion. Every emotion has energy, and energy can be redirected. This is why I always said, do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. The strength I meant was emotional strength, the ability to remain centered in the storm. Think of how attractive it is when you see someone who is tested again and again but never loses himself. When life disappoints him, he does not crumble. When others betray him, he does not become bitter. When challenges rise, he faces them calmly. People naturally admire such a man because he embodies what everyone wishes they could be. His emotional control creates a sense of mystery and respect, because no one can figure out how he remains so steady. That steady energy pulls people toward him without him needing to move a muscle. Another important aspect is self-respect. Emotional control comes easier when you truly value yourself. When you respect yourself, you do not allow anger to drag you down to pettiness. When you respect yourself, you do not allow fear to stop you from living fully. When you respect yourself, you do not allow envy to poison your spirit. This self-respect creates dignity, and dignity is one of the strongest forms of silent attraction. People feel it when they are in your presence. They know you will not lower yourself, and they respect you for it. Finally, emotional control is a practice that builds trust. When others see that you are calm, patient, and unshaken, they feel they can rely on you. They know you will not explode without reason, that you will not betray them in panic, that you will not collapse when pressure rises. Trust is one of the rarest qualities in today's world, and when people sense it in you, they are drawn to you deeply. They may not always say it, but they feel safer, calmer, and more respected around you. And that feeling of safety is what makes emotional control such a powerful form of silent attraction. So, if you want to be silently attractive, do not focus only on how you look, how you move, or how you speak. Focus on how you master your emotions, because in the end, people will not only remember your words or your appearance, they will remember how your presence made them feel. If your emotional control leaves them calmer, more focused, and more at peace, they will be drawn to you again and again. Emotional control is invisible, but its impact is undeniable. It is the strength that cannot be seen but can always be felt. Be the man who cannot be provoked, who cannot be broken by fear, who cannot be poisoned by envy, who cannot be ruined by impatience. Be the man whose emotions serve him, not the other way around. This is the invisible strength everyone feels, and this is what makes you truly, silently attractive. 11. Live with purpose, not for attention. If you want to be truly, silently attractive, you must live with purpose. Too many people live only for attention. They shape their lives around the opinions of others, chasing approval, chasing recognition, chasing the temporary satisfaction of being noticed. They think attraction comes from how loud they are, how flashy they appear, or how much they can show off. But this is a trap, because attention is fragile. It comes and goes with the wind. One day you are admired, the next day you are forgotten. If your life is built on attention, you will always be empty inside. But if your life is built on purpose, you will carry a strength that no one can take away. And that strength will make you silently magnetic in a way no shallow attention ever could. Living with purpose means knowing why you wake up each day. It means aligning your actions with something deeper than applause. A man of purpose does not chase the crowd. He follows his own path. He does not ask, "Will this impress others?" but instead asks, "Does this move me closer to my vision?" This focus gives him direction, and direction gives him power. People can feel it. They sense that he is not wandering aimlessly. He walks with clarity, with intention, with an energy that says he knows where he is going. That kind of man is attractive because he is rare. Purpose is not about grand speeches or dramatic gestures. It is about consistency. It is about living every day with discipline toward what truly matters to you. A man of purpose may not speak loudly, but his life speaks for him. People see it in the way he trains, the way he works, the way he refuses to be distracted by shallow temptations. They see that he is driven not by the noise around him, but by the fire within him. And that inner fire is magnetic because most people have lost theirs. Think of how many people drift through life without purpose. They go where the crowd goes, they do what others expect, they live for the weekend, they waste their energy on things that do not matter. They may look busy, but deep down, they are empty. Now imagine someone who moves differently. He does not waste his time on gossip or drama. He does not beg for attention. He works quietly, steadily, with focus. People begin to notice. They ask themselves, what is it about him? Why does he seem so calm, so certain, so unshaken? The answer is purpose. When you have purpose, you no longer need to scream to be seen. Your life itself becomes the message. Living with purpose also gives you resilience. When setbacks come, the man living for attention collapses because his strength was built on the fragile approval of others. But the man living with purpose endures. He understands that failure is part of the journey. He does not stop when others laugh. He does not quit when others doubt. He continues because his mission is bigger than the noise. People respect this deeply. They may not say it, but they admire the one who stays on his path when everyone else abandons theirs. That respect builds silent attraction, because perseverance fueled by purpose is something the world cannot ignore. Purpose also sharpens your discipline. When you know what you are working toward, distractions lose their power over you. You no longer waste time on meaningless pursuits because you are anchored in what matters. This clarity is rare and it makes you magnetic because people are naturally drawn to those who are focused. In a world where so many scatter their energy everywhere, the one who directs his energy like a laser beam stands out without even trying. Now understand this. Living with purpose is not about impressing the world, but about expressing your true self. Many men pretend to have purpose. They chase money, fame, or attention and call it purpose. But true purpose is deeper. It aligns with your values, your passions, and your vision. It does not always need an audience. In fact, true purpose often grows in silence, away from the spotlight. That is why men of purpose are so attractive. They are not performing for the crowd. They are becoming who they are meant to be. And that authenticity pulls people in because it cannot be faked. Purpose also creates peace. When you live without purpose, you are restless, always searching, always comparing yourself to others. But when you live with purpose, you are grounded. You know why you are here, and that gives you calmness. Others feel that calmness. They feel that you are not chasing them, not competing with them, not trying to prove yourself. You are simply walking your path. That calmness makes them respect you, admire you, and trust you. It is silent but powerful. Another important truth is this: purpose gives you identity. Too many people let the world decide who they are. They define themselves by trends, by groups, by the expectations of family or society. But when you live with purpose, you define yourself. You know who you are and where you are going. That clarity gives you confidence that does not need to be spoken. People notice it in your eyes, in your posture, in the way you handle challenges. They see that you are unshaken because you know your direction. This self-defined identity is magnetic because most people wish they had it, but do not. Purpose also demands sacrifice. To live for something bigger, you must let go of things that do not serve you. Comfort, laziness, distractions, these must fall away. Sacrifice itself is attractive because it shows that you are serious. People admire those who give up ease for growth, who give up distraction for discipline, who give up applause for authenticity. They sense the weight of your choices, and it creates respect. And respect, when built on purpose, creates lasting attraction. Finally, living with purpose makes you timeless. Attention fades quickly, but purpose leaves a legacy. The man who lived only to be noticed will be forgotten as soon as the noise moves on. But the man who lived with purpose will be remembered long after he is gone because he built something real, he touched lives, he created change, he stood for something. And even if his purpose was lived quietly, people felt it and they carried it with them. That is the ultimate silent attraction, not just in the moment, but across time. So, if you want to be silently attractive, stop chasing attention, stop living for the applause of others, start living with purpose, define who you are, commit to your path, build discipline around your mission, stay steady in the face of setbacks, sacrifice what does not serve your vision. When you do this, you will no longer need to beg for respect. Respect will follow you. You will no longer need to chase attraction. Attraction will grow around you. And you will no longer need to prove yourself to anyone because your life itself will prove your worth. Remember this, the world respects men who live with purpose, not men who live for attention. Purpose is quiet, but it is powerful. It may not scream, but it echoes. And when you embody it, you become magnetic in the deepest way. Live with purpose, and you will carry an aura that speaks louder than any words ever could. Cultivate self-mastery, the root of all silent power. If you want to understand the foundation of silent attraction, it comes down to one word: mastery. Not mastery of others, not mastery of the world, but mastery of yourself. This is the deepest habit you can ever build because every other quality, silence, calmness, discipline, presence, emotional control, purpose, all of it comes from self-mastery. Without it, you will always be ruled by impulses, by distractions, by the noise of the outside world. With it, you become unstoppable. People may not always understand why, but they will feel it, and that is what makes you silently magnetic. Most people live as slaves without knowing it. They are slaves to their anger, slaves to their fear, slaves to their desires. They react without thought. They chase without direction. They live without control. A small insult ruins their mood. A small temptation breaks their focus. A small setback destroys their confidence. They think they are free, but they are not. They are controlled by everything outside themselves. But the one who achieves self-mastery is free. He chooses when to act and when to stay still. He chooses what to pursue and what to ignore. He chooses his words, his movements, his thoughts. And when you have this kind of control, you do not need to shout for respect. People sense your power in your stillness. Self-mastery begins with the mind. The mind is like water. It can be clear and still, reflecting truth, or it can be stormy and restless, distorting everything. Most people live in stormy minds. They cannot sit still. They cannot focus. Their thoughts race, pulling them in 1,000 directions. But when you master your mind, you learn to quiet it, to direct it, to keep it steady. This calmness radiates outward. People notice when you are not restless, when you are not distracted, when your attention is sharp and focused. They feel your energy, and it creates respect. Silent attraction begins here with the mastery of your thoughts, but mastery is not only mental, it is physical. If you cannot control your body, you cannot control your presence. Martial arts taught me that every movement should be deliberate. When I fought, when I trained, when I simply walked, I carried control in my posture, my balance, my breathing. This was not only for combat, it was for life, because the man who cannot control his body reveals nervousness, weakness, and lack of discipline. But the man who controls his body radiates calm confidence. People sense it in the way you move, and they are drawn to it, because controlled energy feels powerful. Mastery also extends to emotions. I have said before, the strongest man is not the one who can strike the hardest, but the one who controls himself when provoked. This is emotional mastery, the ability to feel without being ruled. Anger comes, but you do not lash out blindly. Fear comes, but you do not collapse. Desire comes, but you do not lose yourself. You acknowledge your emotions, but you choose your response. This makes you magnetic, because in a world of people who break easily, the one who does not break stands out. People admire emotional mastery because they wish they had it, and that admiration creates silent attraction. Self-mastery also shows in discipline. Most people cannot master even their daily habits. They start something, then quit. They make promises, then break them. They talk of goals, but never follow through. But when you live with discipline, training your body, sharpening your mind, living with consistency, people notice. You do not need to announce your routines. They can see it in your strength, in your sharpness, in your results. And that visible discipline makes you magnetic because consistency is rare. Everyone admires it, even those who lack it. Another part of self-mastery is mastery of speech. Words are powerful, but only when used with precision. Too many people talk endlessly, trying to prove themselves, trying to be liked, trying to dominate. But the man with mastery of speech speaks little and with purpose. His words are clear, measured, and powerful. People listen, not because of volume, but because of weight. Silence is respected, but when silence is broken with mastery, the respect deepens. This habit alone makes you silently attractive because people know that when you speak, it matters. Now understand this, self-mastery is not about perfection, it is about progress. You will stumble, you will fail, you will be tested, but each time you return with more awareness, more strength, more control. This growth itself is attractive because it shows resilience. People respect those who rise after falling, those who remain disciplined even after setbacks. Self-mastery is not a final destination, it is a lifelong practice. And that practice creates an aura of steady strength that people feel in your presence. One of the most overlooked aspects of self-mastery is control over desires. Most people are slaves to pleasure. They eat without discipline, spend without thought, chase relationships without purpose. But the one who controls his desires is powerful because he is not ruled by cravings. He eats with discipline, he spends with wisdom, he chooses relationships with clarity. This restraint makes him magnetic because it signals strength. People respect the man who does not indulge in everything because he values himself too much to waste his energy. Self-mastery also creates independence. When you master yourself, you no longer depend on others to tell you who you are, to give you confidence, or to validate your worth. You know who you are. You know your path. You walk it with certainty, even when no one is watching, even when no one is applauding. This independence is rare and it is deeply attractive because most people cannot imagine living without external approval. Your independence creates an aura of mystery and respect because you move freely while others are trapped. Another truth, self-mastery builds presence. When you have control over your mind, body, emotions, and habits, You carry yourself differently. You do not rush. You do not fidget. You do not crumble. You stand tall. You move with intention. You speak with clarity. You live with discipline. People feel this presence, even if you never say a word. And that presence itself is magnetic because it signals depth, control, and confidence. Let me remind you, attraction is not about seeking, it is about becoming. When you master yourself, you do not need to seek attention. People naturally notice you. They notice your discipline, your calmness, your focus, your restraint. They notice that you are different, and they are drawn to it. Self-mastery makes you silently attractive because it cannot be faked. You either live it or you don't. And when you live it, people will feel it in every part of your presence. So how do you cultivate self-mastery? Start with awareness. Notice your thoughts, your emotions, your habits. Ask yourself, am I controlling this, or is it controlling me? Then practice discipline. Train your body daily, sharpen your mind, build routines that strengthen you. Learn to pause before reacting. Choose silence over noise. Choose patience over desperation. Choose simplicity over excess. Each choice builds another layer of mastery. Over time, this mastery becomes your nature, and your nature becomes your power. If you want to be silently attractive, make self-mastery your lifelong practice, because the man who has mastered himself is free from the control of others, free from the chaos of the world, and free from the slavery of impulses. He does not need to shout because his life speaks. He does not need to chase respect because respect follows him. He does not need to prove his worth because his mastery proves it for him. Remember this, the one who masters others may be strong, but the one who masters himself is unstoppable. Master yourself, and you will carry an aura that no one can ignore. Master yourself, and you will live with dignity, discipline, and depth. Master yourself, and you will become magnetic without ever trying. Self-mastery is the root of all silent power, and once you have it, you will never need to seek attraction again. It will come to you naturally because the world cannot resist the presence of a man who truly owns himself. You have walked with me through 12 powerful lessons. Each one is not a trick, not a performance, not a mask to put on for the world, but a discipline, a practice, a way of being. Attraction, real attraction, is not about how loudly you shout, how desperately you chase, or how much you try to impress. Real attraction is silent. It comes from within. It grows out of mastery, and it speaks louder than words ever could. Think of what we have uncovered together. The power of silence, which teaches you that presence is stronger than noise. The control of movements, which shows discipline before a word leaves your mouth. Respect given freely without need for approval, which shows dignity and independence. Speaking with calm confidence, which allows your voice to carry weight. Living with discipline that others can see, which makes them respect you without you asking. Carrying yourself with simplicity, which reveals authenticity. Being unshakable under pressure, which shows that no one can control you. Developing inner strength that does not depend on the world, which makes you untouchable. Building an aura of presence that others feel without explanation. Practicing emotional control, which makes you a rock in the storm. Living with purpose, not for attention, which makes your life itself a message. And finally, cultivating self-mastery, which is the root of all silent power. Together, these habits form something greater than attraction. They form a way of life. They transform you into someone who does not need to prove, who does not need to chase, who does not need to beg. You become someone who commands respect without demanding it, who draws people without pursuing them, who lives with such dignity that the world cannot ignore you. Understand this clearly. The man who masters himself is the most attractive man of all. His silence carries weight, His presence carries mystery, his discipline carries respect, his purpose carries meaning. People may not always be able to explain why they are drawn to him, but they feel it because truth is always felt. This is the secret of silent attraction. It is not in the performance, it is in the person. Do not waste your life chasing eyes. Do not waste your energy begging for approval. Instead, build yourself. Discipline your body. Sharpen your mind. Master your emotions. Walk with purpose. Live with simplicity. Be unshakable. And in doing so, you will discover that attraction is not something to be chased. It is something to be lived. It is the natural result of becoming the kind of person who does not need it. When you stop searching for attraction and instead build mastery, you will realize something powerful. People will come to you. They will respect you. They will admire you. They will want to be near you. Not because you asked, but because your presence itself pulls them in. That is the way of silent attraction. It is not about noise. It is about mastery. It is not about performance. It is about truth. It is not about showing off. It is about being. So walk this path with discipline. Practice these lessons not once, but every day. Live them, breathe them, become them. And when you do, you will never again need to chase attention because you will carry a force far greater than attention. You will carry silent respect. You will carry unshakable presence. You will carry true power. That, my friend, is the essence of being silently attractive. Not through tricks, not through masks, but through mastery. Remember my words. The world respects noise for a moment, but it respects mastery forever. Be the master of yourself, and you will be the master of attraction without ever trying.